Part 3. The interior of Trigger Vachon's truck smelled of clean, freshly pressed clothes, an aroma which, for some reason, always reminded Ralph of fresh bread. There was no passenger seat, so he stood with one hand wrapped around the door handle and the other gripping the edge of a Dandek's laundry basket. "Man, that looked like some strange go on back there," Trigger said, glancing into his outside mirror. "You don't know the half of it," Ralph replied. "I know the guy driving the rice burner, Deepno his name is. He got a pretty little wife send stuff out sometime. Seemed like a nice fellow most usually." "He sure wasn't himself today," Ralph said. "Had a bug up his ass, did he? Had a whole damn ant farm up there, I think." Trigger laughed hard at that, pounding the warm black plastic of the big steering wheel. "Oh, damn ant farm! Beauty, beauty, I'm saving that one, me." Trigger wiped his streaming eyes with a handkerchief almost the size of a tablecloth. "Looked to me like Mr. Deepno come out that airport service gate him." "That's right, he did. You need a pass to use that way," Trigger said. "How Mr. D get a pass, you think?" Ralph thought it over, frowning, then shook his head. "I don't know. It never occurred to me. I'll have to ask him next time I see him." "You do that," Trigger said, "and ask him how the man's doing." This stimulated a fresh throe of laughter, which in turn occasioned more flourishes of the comic opera handkerchief. As they turned off the extension onto Harris Avenue proper, the storm finally broke. There was no hail, but the rain came in an extravagant summer flood, so heavy at first that Trigger had to slow the panel truck to a crawl. "Wow," he said respectfully. "This reminds me of the big storm back in '85 when half of downtown fell in a damn canal. Remember that, Ralph?" "Yes," Ralph said. "Let's hope it doesn't happen again." "Nah," Trigger said, grinning and peering past his extravagantly flapping windshield wipers. "They got the drainage system all fixed up now. Beauty!" The combination of the cold rain and the warm cab caused the bottom half of the windshield to steam up. Without thinking, Ralph reached out a finger and drew a figure in the steam. "What's that?" Trigger asked. "I don't really know. Looks Chinese, doesn't it? It was on the scarf Ed Deepno was wearing." "Look a little familiar to me," Trigger said, glancing at it again. Then he snorted and flapped a hand. "Listen to me, would you? Only thing I can tell you is Chinese is Mugu Gaipan." Ralph smiled, but didn't seem to have a laugh in him. It was Carolyn. Now that he had remembered her, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Couldn't stop imagining the windows open and the curtains streaming like Edward Gorey ghost arms as the rain poured in. You still live in that two-story across from the Red Apple?" "Yes." Trigger pulled into the curb. The wheels of the truck sprang up big fans of water. The rain was still pouring down in sheets. Lightning raced across the sky. Thunder cracked. "You better stay right here with me for a little bit," Trigger said. "Should let up in a minute or two." "I'll be all right." Ralph didn't think anything could keep him in the truck a second longer, not even in handcuffs. "Thanks, Trig." "Wait a sec! Let me get you a piece of plastic. You can put it over your head like a rain hat." "No, that's okay, no problem, thanks. There seemed to be no way of finishing whatever it was he was trying to say, and now what he felt was close to panic. He shoved the truck's passenger door back on its track and jumped out, landing ankle-deep in the cold water racing down the gutter. He gave Trigger a final wave without looking back, then hurried up the walk to the house he and Carolyn shared with Bill, feeling in his pocket for his latchkey as he went. When he reached the porch steps, he saw he wouldn't need it. The door was standing ajar. Bill, who lived downstairs, often forgot to lock it, and Ralph would rather think it had been Bill than think that Carolyn had wandered out to look for him and been caught in the storm. That was a possibility Ralph did not even want to consider. He hurried into the shadowy foyer, wincing as thunder banged deafeningly overhead, crossed to the foot of the stairs. He paused there for a moment, hand on the newel post of the banister, listening to rainwater drip from his soaked pants and shirt onto the hardwood floor. Then he started up, wanting to run, but no longer able to find the next gear up from a fast walk. His heart was beating hard and fast in his chest, and the smoke-seekers were clammy anchors dragging at his feet, and for some reason he kept seeing the way Ed Deepno's head had moved when he got out of his Datsun. Those stiff, quick jabs that made him look like a rooster spoiling for a fight. The third razor creaked loudly as it always did, and the sound provoked hurried footsteps from above. They were no relief because they weren't Carolyn's. He knew that at once, and when Bill leaned over the rail, his face pale and worried beneath his Panama hat, Ralph wasn't really surprised. All the way back from the extension, he had felt that something was wrong. Hadn't he? Yes, but under the circumstances, that hardly qualified as precognition. When things reached a certain degree of wrongness he was discovering, They could no longer be redeemed or turned around. They just kept going wronger and wronger. He supposed that on some level or other he had always known that. What he had never suspected was how long that wrong road could be. "Ralph!" Bill called down. "Thank God! Carolyn's having—" "While I get some sort of seizure, I just dialed 911, so asked them to send an ambulance." Ralph discovered he could climb up the rest of the stairs after all.